Take 3 Gen Xers, give them a topic about music, movies, pop culture, or whatever, and how it relates to them growing up in the 70s and 80s as part of Generation X. Add one person from another generation to see if there's any common ground, and you've got Solve for Gen X. Starting now. Can you hear me? Still can't hear me?
You know...
Can anybody hear me?
Staplers are very good. Whoever invented this part to store the extra staples in... That's the guy I want to be friends with. That's somebody who's really using their noodle. And I love that kind of thing. It is my favorite.
Can anyone hear me?
When someone thinks of something like that. What?
Actually, you look really pretty.
Hey, easy.
Thank you. I think it's because I didn't shower and I took a long walk and got very sweaty.
No. I'm just glad I can't smell you.
Check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's just do it. This is going to be the lost episode. I'm sure of it. I can feel it in my bones. Crushes. When you were a teenager, perhaps you can recall that butterfly feeling you got in your stomach that inexplicably traveled elsewhere for some unknown reason. And that feeling... it wasn't just reserved for that cute girl who sat in front of you in the English class or the captain of the football team. Gen X teens, like us, seem to be obsessed with our pop culture icons. Whether they were cool or sexy or hip or rad, we had crushes on them, and we weren't afraid to show it. On our T-shirts, in our posters in our lockers, inscribed on the outside of our Trapper Keepers. From Karate Kid's Ralph Macchio to Material Girl's Madonna, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High's Phoebe Cates to Breakfast Club's Judd Nelson, they all had the goods, and we wanted those goods, whatever those goods happened to be, because maybe we didn't completely understand it yet, but we were about to. They were attractive because they were talented, musical, or just plain attractive. So let's get physical in a very non-threatening teenage crush kind of way and talk about our early pop culture crushes today on Solve for Gen X.
Solve for Gen X. It was the age of parachute pants,
Skinny ties, neon headbands.
we rode our bikes, clothes helmet free.
A nicotine from a vending machine.
Decades, pastimes, memories, and master song. Solve for Gen X. Solve for Gen X. Solve for Gen X. Solve for Gen
X. Welcome to Solve for Gen X. I am Matt Vogel, Generation X 1970.
I'm Ashley Ward, Generation X 1972.
Nate Starkey, 1971. Coming at you.
And today we're talking about our early pop culture crushes and maybe sexual awakenings. And who knows what we're gonna bring in somebody from another generation here in a little bit. But you know what, Nate, you're gonna start. So let's tell us about your crushes.
So and I did have a crush on Madonna,
who didn't?
especially like she had the very sexual videos, and I think we've even talked about this before in another one. Yeah. She had that one with the peeping booth thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I had a crush on Madonna.
Yes.
Oh, is that
you did?
To me? No,
Isn't it Express Yourself?
Yeah, express yourself.
It's Express Yourself.
It's Open Your Heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was singing.
That's a good video.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that is a good video.
Yeah, so that was pretty racy.
Yeah.
For a teen boy to ooh, this is sexuality on TV. So I definitely had a Madonna crush. But in contrast to you ladies, my friends and I did not fight over who gets to be with Madonna. You know?
Well, that's totally different because she's not in a band. Everyone can have a crush on Madonna at the same time. You don't understand the dynamics.
No, we don't. And that's the point.
I guess not. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And really is just like it. You were in it or you weren't, and there's really no other aspect.
If you understand, you understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you know.
I'll say this. So I'm gonna go back to let's go back. So on Buck Rogers, there was an actress named
Aaron Gray.
Oh yeah,
Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray. Yeah,
I remember being in love with Aaron Gray, and then she was on Silver Spoons, and with Ricky Schroeder and whoever the other guy was, the dad.
That man.
So I remember like Aaron Gray was like, oh my God, she is so beautiful. Donna Dixon, who was on Bosom Buddies.
Was my dad's big crush. Married to Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us.
And she had a very like Marilyn Monroe thing going on. Like just like something about the way she talked and like just that kind of sexuality. And I met Donna Dixon at SNL After Party when she was still married to Dan Aykroyd, and they were married for years and years and years.
Are they divorced?
They're no longer together. Isn't that crazy?
That's
I mean,
crazy.
you
They were
can double check that. But
they were together like 40 years or more.
yeah, really long time. I didn't like talk to her really, but I was in the same room with her, that's really interesting because she was like this sex pot. And when I saw her in real life, decades later, she was just like this pleasant-looking mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No longer a sex pot, but just like a pleasant-looking mom. Anyway, so those were interesting ones to me that I thought of. I had the posters. I had the Heather Locklear and the Heather Thomas posters.
Oh, Heather Locklear. I forgot about Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the big posters.
Jeez.
Those two.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is the one that was like on TV a lot?
The biggest one
Heather
was
Locklear.
like the
Farrah Fawcett was the like.
That was like the iconic one from the 70s.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like that one predates.
older
That
Gen
predates
Xers.
me a little bit.
Heather Locklear's like TJ Hooker. I mean, she just like went from show to show to show to show.
Heather Thomas was more just like a pinup queen. She was on like the fall. She was on something.
I think she's on the Fall Guy. I think you're right.
Fall
like
Guy.
some like 80s sitcom-y something.
But she was more of just like
Or not sitcom.
Thomas. Matt, Heather Thomas.
Yeah, she was on the Fall Guy. That's true. Yeah.
You remember her poster?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like she had a very popular poster.
I don't remember her poster, but I do feel like I remember the Heather Locklear poster.
And I definitely remember the Farrah Fawcett poster, but I just always like she always felt like much older to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this sexy lady that is older, that's like from a different. Even then, it was like that's the other.
Yeah,
generation.
it felt like a different generation.
Was this the Heather Thomas poster that you had?
Yes. Matt, do you not remember this?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember that one, but there's a very similar one for Heather Locklear, like a white bikini or something like that. I think.
Oh, I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here's like more. I'll go more obscure. There was a movie called Night of the Comet, and it was about a comet hitting the world, and
Heather Locklear.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
That's not the one I'm thinking of either, but it's
definitely a bikini one.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It was about a comet hitting, and then like it turned people to zombies. It was like a zombie movie and an apocalyptic movie. Maybe it wasn't a zombie movie.
I remember it. It was, like a comet was going to hit. They were at a movie theater. They worked at a movie theater, and it was
they were like
basically
trapped in the mall.
And then
I think
did
zombies.
It caused people to be zombies or something like that. They were like trapped in this location, and they realized, oh my gosh, and it was like one of them worked at the movie theater. At least one of them did. I remember it.
Or a movie theater.
It was scary.
So there was a young blonde cheerleader type in that movie who took her shirt off, and she was just like in her bra, and that was like, oh man. And she was also
a star.
She was yes, but she wasn't the main. She was like co-star. It was like an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
But she was also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High as a cheerleader.
Oh.
She kind of was like cast as a cheerleader in several movies.
Never made the squad though in high school.
Yeah.
You know that had to hurt.
Man, that's not great.
So I remember that. There were like women that were much older that were like, I found like Morgan Freeman.
I'm sorry, what?
Morgan Fairchild.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did you have that
Morgan Fairchild.
that poster of Morgan Freeman in a Speedo, like going like this? Oh yeah. That was a big popular poster of Morgan
The
Freeman.
band Rats.
huge.
The band Rats. They all had great makeup and great hair, very sexy.
Yeah.
Morgan Fairchild, yes, another one that my dad
But that was
loved.
more like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
TV show my parents are watching, and I'm in the room, and I'm intrigued by this sexy lady.
It's like Knots Landing, was she on, or Falcon Crest, one of those jams?
Of course, Phoebe Cates, yeah. I mean, but these are all real obvious ones. I actually find the more obscure ones kind of interesting.
Oh, the more obscure ones are my favorite.
Yeah, well, get ready because mine are probably not that.
Yeah.
You don't have any memories of those obscure ones?
Well, I do. Yeah, I do. But this one was a really hard one for me. Do you have any more, Nate, or should I go on?
I mean, I'm sure I do, but yeah.
I know that
feel
Ashley
I've-
has like a
I've
ton of
outstayed
these,
my
I'm
welcome
sure.
long ago.
Well, like I said, this was just like, I don't know why this was hard. Maybe I've repressed my pop culture crushes or something. I don't know. But what I do remember is having an Olivia Newton-John Greatest Hits Volume 2 vinyl record. It had a gatefold, and so it opened up, and in was Olivia Newton-John, and she was like laying back with her arm kind of over above her head, and I just would
Wait,
listen.
it's not the physical.
It's not the physical album.
Greatest Hits.
It's the Greatest Hits Volume
Hits.
2. And I just remember listening to her Volume 2 hits like Hopelessly Devoted to You from Grease and Magic and Xanadu. I think those are both from Xanadu. And of course Physical, that was on that record as well. And I remember I remember like looking at that gatefold in the album and kind of being like, just like feelings maybe I didn't quite didn't quite understand. And yes, like actors like Phoebe Cates and Elizabeth Shue. I liked Elizabeth Shue. I thought she was super cute. And I loved Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing. I thought she was adorable, and I kind of crushed on her a little bit.
I feel like you're a little old now. These aren't really, you're not a teenager.
Well, no, I am. I think
He's
that
a
was
teen.
that was
He's still a teen.
For Elizabeth
Dancing.
Shue?
Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
and-
Adventures in Baby, or like,
Yeah, that was like
For,
1980,
Adventures in Babysitting?
1986 or 7 or something. And Dirty Dancing,
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school, so I was still a teenager.
That's normal.
But
well, yeah. So like for Elizabeth Shue, like, yeah. So she was like really pretty cute. Oh yeah, because Karate Kid.
yes, Karate
But
Kid,
then
yeah.
when she did like Leaving Las Vegas,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
got like all sexy, and it's like, are you serious? My teen crush
Yeah.
is getting nasty.
How did
That's
this happen? Yeah. But let's see. And then there were a couple that I thought of while you were mentioning some, Nate. So Gilligan's Island, I was not really as into Ginger as I was Marianne. I was a Marianne kid.
They say you're one or the other. You're one or the
I
other.
loved Don Wells.
Ginger's almost like a grandma, kind of. She's like, she
Well-
seems so old and like from a different generation.
Yes, but she was, glamorous and, movie starry, but that just wasn't I didn't connect to that as much. And then Brady Bunch, I would think that I think that it would have been Marsha. It would have been Marsha.
If you said Cindy, I would have like called 911.
I know, no, it wasn't that.
Well, Cindy
wasn't
was the same age.
Yeah,
As
probably,
you
but
at
it
the
definitely was Marsha. I think I saw them in reruns, and so it would have been.
Yeah.
And then here's one that I just thought of, and it might be along the lines of like an older person, but Somewhere in Time, Jane Seymour. Do you know?
Yes.
She's just so pretty in that movie. She's
Dr. Quinn,
so
Medicine Woman.
Great. I love her, but I don't remember having like feelings about any of them. Beyond thinking like they were cute and talented, and maybe that's like how that crush manifested for me. Maybe it wasn't like as much like a sexual urge.
Yeah.
I did ask Kelly, like I was like, hey, do you have any crushes as a teenager? And she rattled off names like she had literally been thinking about all of them that moment. She was like, oh, Ralph Macchio and Michael J. Fox and River Phoenix and Jason Bateman and Ricky Schroeder. And I'm like, what the? Easy.
Like
Okay.
she pulled a piece of paper out of her pocket.
She did. It was like that. It was. She was just like bang, bang, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, how do you? I couldn't really remember names like that. I really had to think about it, and I didn't even think of like half of those until hearing you, Nate, talk about some of those.
Well, now as you're talking, I'm thinking of more too.
Like who?
Jennifer Jason Lee.
Oh, yeah.
From Fast Times. Well, Phoebe Cates we mentioned already, but both of them, like, I wonder if you're a Phoebe Cates or a Jennifer Jason Lee type. No, but probably most guys are both. Also, who's she was in The Outsiders, Cherry in Outsiders.
Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. Oh, man.
Well, who were your crushes then, Ashley?
Oh, boy. Well, now you're opening a can of worms. So the first one I remember, and I think there were probably some before this too, because like there almost definitely were. The first one I really remember strongly is the Fonz.
Hey,
makes perfect sense.
I bet a lot of your Gen X women.
Yeah, he was definitely the first big crush I had, and there was actually a kid in my first grade named Marcus Proctor, and he wore in first grade. A lot. He wore a Fonzie T-shirt that had like a drawing of Fonzie, and it was like, "Hey!"
I had that T-shirt. Like that. My brother and I had that T-shirt.
It made me like I remember having tender feelings towards Marcus Proctor purely because of that shirt. And I mean, he was a nice guy, and I liked him also. But
did you say his name was Marcus Proxy? Because he was like the proxy for Fonzie.
He was a Fonzie proxy.
He was your proxy.
Proctor proxy.
Yeah.
Prior to that, like I think I did have a little crush on like Sean Cassidy, Donny Osmond, but those were much more minor. Like Fonzie looms large in terms of my early crushes.
Did you ever meet Henry Winkler?
I have met Henry Winkler, and he was super nice. I met him as an older man, much older. Like this was only a few years ago.
Henry Winkler is so nice. I feel like everyone's met him.
I'm dying to meet him. Like, I want to meet him.
It was a weird circumstance that I met him under. We got to do this, like, essentially, it was because of Barry, because he was an acting coach on Barry, the TV show Barry.
Oh, yeah.
And they did this, like, Vulture Fest or something like that, like Vulture, the website. And they asked some people, hey, would you do a scene of your choosing, and he'll coach you, like, he'll acting coach you. And so Bridget got this job and was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I was like, yes. We did a scene from Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, I think, or whatever the name of that movie is. Wow. And he was great. I mean, he was really good. He was like kind of harsh and like intense, but he was super nice, and I liked him a lot.
Yeah. I met Henry Winkler on the set of The Water Boy. He was very concerned. I was working as a PA, making sure the people in the stands of the football game were like entertained in between shots. And he, in between the shots, instead of doing whatever resting or whatever, he was wanted to entertain them with me, and like, that person didn't get a T-shirt, and that person didn't get a T-shirt, and
that's so nice.
Oh, he's so nice. No one has ever said that Henry Winkler's not nice.
I know. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So then the second one that I remember very strongly is a weird one. The guy who played Carmine Raguso, the big Ragu on Laverne and Shirley.
Eddie Mecca. That's Eddie Mecca.
Nice.
You know I'd go from rags to riches. That's what he would always sing, like on his entrance and exit. He had an entrance and exit song. Don't know why I loved him, but I did. John Travolta in Grease, big one. Then, like, I don't really remember too many in this middle area, but then, like, obviously we've discussed Duran Duran ad nauseum. So all of Duran Duran I loved.
Yeah.
I had a huge crush on Michael J. Fox. Huge. Michael Keaton.
Was it from like starting with Family Ties?
Family Ties.
Yeah. That was when it started, was Family Ties. And I was just like obsessed. Loved him. And then everything he was in.
Oh, right? Justine Bateman. Yeah, Justine
That's a valid one.
Yeah. And Justine Bateman shops at the same grocery store as me. I've seen her several times. Been in line right behind her. Talked about football.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
And then
I talked about football with Justine Bateman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you want us to do?
I said it was cool.
FYI, also, I'm very drunk today.
Okay.
We can tell.
I did have a beer at lunch, though.
Oh,
okay. So let's see. Michael J. Fox was huge. Like he was the reason I would buy like Tiger Beat and like teeny magazines was like to get pictures of him. Later was Keanu Reeves, which was another huge one that I think eclipsed Michael J. Fox. Then I had some interesting ones. John Malkovich was a big one because of the movie Dangerous Liaisons. That was when I was in high school. A real weird one was Robert De Niro. I got very into Robert De Niro.
From what? From Cape Fear?
Yes.
No, I think it started with...
What was it?
I think it started with I saw Godfather Part 2.
Okay.
And he's like, he plays young Don Corleone. He's really pretty good looking. And I don't know, I just became like really compelled by him. Like I thought he was such a good actor and I was so interested in him. He was so interesting looking and I love big noses. As some people know, I have a real attraction to big noses. Mm-hmm. And he's got a schnoz. He's got a schnoz. But and John Malkovich too also has a fairly big nose. I'm trying to think. Thing that's all. Yeah,
Malkovich
like he has a prominent nose for sure. Liam Neeson, but I don't know if that may have been college by the time I started having a crush on him. The things that are interesting to me are the people, and I thought Tom Cruise was cute, but I don't think I was ever like over the moon Tom Cruise. I think like Top Gun Rebecca De Horne for sure. And Kelly McGillis. In his Top Gun era, I was very much thought Tom Cruise was cute. In other eras, I was like not that into him. And then Harrison Ford in Star Wars, Han Solo, and then Indiana Jones. But then what was interesting to me were the ones that I never thought C. Thomas Howell was cute. Never really into Ralph Macchio, never into Matt Dillon. Like all the ones that were kind of like big ones to be into, I was not having. I was not about it. I liked like a little bit. I mean, Keanu Reeves is obvious. Like River Phoenix did nothing for me. Keanu Reeves,
so no Brat Pack. No Brat Pack for you.
Kelly liked River Phoenix.
Not yeah. A lot of girls did. I don't know. He just didn't do it for me. Like I'm trying to think. Rob Lowe from Brat Pack. I was very into Rob Lowe. I was very into Judd Nelson. Yeah, and
Rob
watched
Lowe
every Judd Nelson movie. Well, he was in Atlanta. I was probably 15 the year that he got in trouble in Atlanta at the Democratic National Convention.
You're lucky. So, did you like Making the Grade with Judd Nelson?
I never saw that. That was pre-Breakfast Club, I think. And so I didn't know who he was. But I loved the movie From the Hip, where he plays a lawyer. I don't know. I liked... And then I was trying to think. I was like, oh, well, what were the guys who were on SNL when I was in high school that I had crushes on? And I was like, I don't think I had crushes on any of them. Because I do think I liked a lot of funny types.
You would have been like Mike Myers for you probably in high school? No, you're older already?
I didn't really have Adam Sandler, but I think that was when I was in college. I definitely had a big crush on Adam Sandler.
Okay.
But yeah, like Phil Hartman, who I love, but I don't think I ever had a crush on him. But like, I definitely feel like I had a crush on Madonna. I don't think I like would have known to quantify it that way at the time. Because she's a girl. But I definitely was like, whatever is going on here, that is intriguing and interesting, and I want to be a part of that.
How long did that last? Did that last like into college? Did it last beyond that? How long did your fascination with her go?
Probably,
like, did you watch Truth or Dare? Did you see the Truth or Dare doc?
Yes, I definitely did. I did.
Yeah.
It waxed and waned. So, like, there would be times where I would just be like, this is too much. Like, what is she doing? Like, I'm over this. And then where I would be like, oh, my God, she's so interesting. And she's so, like, what an incredible human. I definitely don't listen to her music anymore, like her new music. Mm-hmm. Michael Stipe from REM, because I was hugely into REM in high school. And I'm trying to think of other... NXS, Michael Hutchence of NXS.
Which you've kind of talked about the music of NXS being really like...
very evocative.
A thing for you, yeah.
Yes, very like sexual awakening music. Dun, dun, dun. Prince, I definitely had a big crush on Prince.
Jeez.
Again, very like sexual, like being like, what's happening to me?
This feels very similar to what you're saying about Kelly, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could go. I could go on for like hours and hours. I won't.
You have reminded me of other people too.
Yeah, because
Leah Thompson. Because you said Tom Cruise, and Leah Thompson was in Do All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise.
I just think of her like becoming aware of her in Back to the Future, where she is super cute as.
She was also in Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yes.
So while we're on you, Ashley, and we're in the Brat Pack vicinity, what about Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't think I ever had a crush on him. I was like, really? I liked him, but I don't think I ever had a crush. No.
I mean, talk about interesting male leads of that era, of that genre, those genres.
I think when I was older, I had some crushes on him, but like as a teen, I think he just didn't
his nose wasn't
register. Yeah, he was a little squirrely. I don't know. There was just something about him. Like I just was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Similar to Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah.
Which you could argue Rob Lowe is similar to Andrew McCarthy too, but whatever. He's better looking.
So, Matt, you and I are as heterosexual as the gets. Given?
Sure. Yeah.
Who would have been your teen crush? Were you a girl or were you, or if you were gay? Like, I guess they're two different questions, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
But, like, as far as male, like, pop celebrities,
sure.
What do you think?
Like,
because Ashley mentioned Madonna.
Yeah. I mean, I would say when she said Michael Stipe, I was like, yeah, that dude was so cool. Like, because I love REM, and I'm talking just like purely talent and like there's charisma. Charisma. There's some sexuality, certainly, and like his swagger.
They've got something going. I think Michael Hutchins is another good one that like I would have had a huge. I had a guy crush on him as a heterosexual guy crush.
Like, is this like
same with Matt Dillon?
You want to be their friend. You want to be like.
Well, I want to be them, or I want to be them. Like I tried to like, and I think I talked to you about this when your kids were. One of your kids was like, we were at the pool party, and he was so obsessed with his hair at the pool, and I was like, at the time I was like, how ridiculous. That you're at a pool, but then I thought like, oh wait, when I was that age, I wanted my hair to look like Matt Dillon's.
Yeah,
like I really would like. I like knew what I wanted my hair to look like.
Yeah, I would say like maybe a Michael J. Fox, just because so funny and like cool to me, like just like cool guy.
Yeah. I would have been Robert Downey Jr. for sure. Like I definitely had a boy crush on him.
Oh wait, I forgot my biggest weird one. In a way, weird physically and the older thing. Letterman.
Oh, Letterman. That's a good one.
Huge crush on Letterman. Obsessed with David Letterman.
That's a great one.
Did my question make you uncomfortable, Matt?
No, he answered it.
No. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else.
Well, you're frozen, so I can't. I'm getting like half. I'm not getting any.
I'm so sorry.
Like,
you're not getting anything back from me. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm really sorry. No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all because there are people today that I'm like, I'm so like enamored of their talent or their charisma, and that's like a crush, I would think. It's like
it's like a talent crush.
I think if I was a teen now, I would probably have a crush on who's the big. She just won an Oscar for her song.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
I think I'd have a huge crush on her probably.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
So, we've talked about our crazy crushes, but what about other generations, huh? The generations before us? Annette Funicello?
Tab Hunter?
3 of the 4 seasons, maybe?
3 of the 4 seasons. That 4th season was always just a dog. That 4th season is like pinata action. You got to be blindfolded to hit that shit. Nice?
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that.
That's a new one. For me. I didn't make it up.
It's very good.
Someone else has been saying that, I'm sure. But what about the generation after us? The sweet, sweet millennials. We have a special guest, and her name is Franny Starkey. Franny, come on. Let's scooch.
Yay.
Let's scooch. Yay. So, Franny Starkey, what would you like us to say about you, Franny, other than that you're my sister? When were you born?
1980.
That's elder millennial, right?
Yeah, I think I'm like among the oldest millennials there is.
Almost a Gen X, I would say.
The oldest millennial.
Yeah, I'm right on the cusp there. The oldest, absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Franny's like an amazing businesswoman. She's a mom. She's a great friend, a great sister-in-law.
She can bring home the bacon. She can fry it up in the pan.
Come on.
Franny, when I say you can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan, do you know what that is? Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the generational,
Franny has a very impressive resume that includes the White House on it, and that is more than any of the rest of us.
She worked for years in the East Wing.
Not a White House, but
And
the White House.
The
The White House. Okay.
she worked in a White House.
That's pretty cool.
No black people were allowed in that house.
Wait.
Wait,
What?
Nate,
Hold
it
on.
was the Obama White House.
Who are the Obamas are baby boomers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you've ever said that phrase? Because it sounded like it was. They are baby. What is the word? It is a boomers.
All right. So if Ashley's done making fun of me, let's move on. So, Franny, talk to us about your teen crushes. And they can be celebrities, but they don't necessarily have to be celebrities. I guess the topic is pop. We won't know who you're talking about, but we're interested in that time in your life when you first find yourself crushing. And often it is with a celebrity. But I don't know.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I was of the New Kids on the Block era.
Oh,
So I was very much into the Knight brothers, in particular Jonathan Knight. He was the older of, I believe he was the older of the two. There was Jonathan and Jordan. So yeah, I was a huge Jonathan Knight fan.
Do you know all of the kids on the block?
Jordan, Jonathan, Donnie,
Wahlberg.
Joey, Wahlberg, Joey, and then there was that other kind of creepy dude who's older. I think I don't remember his name.
I can't name any of them.
What about?
I think that was all of them except for one.
I would have said Justin Timberlake.
That he's in NSYNC.
Exactly.
He was NSYNC. I think I was in college in the NSYNC era. Definitely loved some NSYNC, but I was probably a little too cool for NSYNC, or thought I was too cool for NSYNC.
So the New Kids on the Block were the first of the hit boy band explosion for your generation.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I don't even say, obviously Franny and I grew up in the same house for a time before I moved out. And she became an only child.
Well,
did you have posters of Jonathan?
No, see, I was listening to your intro earlier, and you were talking about like the merch and the posters and all the things, and I was like, ooh, I wasn't that kind of person. Again, I'm like on the older end of millennials, and so, but even now, like I go to concerts, I don't buy merch.
Well, here's a question I have for Franny about New Kids on the Block, because I'm curious. I found this to be true as a Gen Xer. There was a band, Duran Duran. I was very into them when they came out, and everyone would pick who their favorite was, similarly to how you picked Jonathan Knight. Among your friend group, would you sort of try to make sure that everyone didn't pick the same person? And like, did you ever feel a pressure of like, well, I mean, Simon Le Bon, of course, is obviously the cutest one, but he would never really love me. He would probably pick Jennifer over me. So second choice would be John Taylor. But again, probably unlikely. So I guess I'll go with Nick Rhodes, because no one else is going to pick Nick Rhodes because he's the one that seemed most obviously gay. Just wondering if that was ever a thought. If this is an Ashley thing. I feel like I've talked to other women. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think everybody loved Joey and Jordan. Like those were the two people everybody went for. And in my brain, like if I ever have the chance, I can't go for Jordan or Joey. Like Jonathan is the chance I have in real life to find love, right? Because
so this is a real thing. This is a real thing that exists. I've definitely talked to other women about it who are my age, and specifically about Duran Duran, and we all had the same experience.
Yeah, I would have never guessed in a million years that was a thing.
I mean,
that
I think
seem
women
weird
are
to you?
delusional. I think all this is real. Could be real.
It seems real to me, but I don't understand it. But yeah. I guess, I don't know. I don't get it.
It's like
I would never
there's
be like,
a combo.
I can't pick Belinda Carlisle because she's
right. Out of reach.
I'm not sure it was like a conscious choice, but it was definitely like, I think I was working in the background of like working out the odds, and like
it's a weird combination. It's a weird combination of totally delusional and some kind of self-deprecating logic. So like a weird marriage of those
at the same time.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. We can get more into it when we talk about our crushes, Matt. But like this right now is telling me like, is it so like to me it was just like, oh, that woman is like sexy to me or whatever, and it's like a physical attraction. It wasn't like, can I be with that person? Is that someone I can be with? Like, will they?
Yeah.
Can we? Was there a commitment in the works for us?
Do I have
That
a
seems
chance?
like that's
a
for y'all.
real chance.
That was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was also a thing because you wanted to be able to talk with your friends about it. And so if everyone was like, oh my God, Simon, yeah, I'm going to be with Simon. I'm going to marry Simon. No, you're not. I'll slit your throat and dance in your blood when I marry Simon. Like, you can't do that. So you've got to kind of like, everybody's got to pick someone so that we can be like, yeah, and then we'll travel with them. And on their tours,
Wait, but you
we'll be best friends. We'll live.
You couldn't both be like you and your friend couldn't both want Simon?
I mean, no, like not in. Yeah, we don't. You don't want to be fighting about it, so it's like you had to sort of to keep. There was a lot.
This is where you've made a mistake.
Inner workings.
This is where you made a mistake because Simon's going to choose who he wants.
Simon's a person.
Right?
He's not an object.
And if
for you to
I
decide
know.
who he belongs to.
And I used logic to realize it was probably not going to be me. That I was going to have a bigger shot with Nick Rhodes, even knowing Nick Rhodes is very likely gay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So Franny, did you play the cootie catcher game or the mash game?
Both.
So who is the guy that you would choose? Is it Jonathan? You would choose in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on, again, I think New Kids on the Block was more elementary school, and then when I got into like junior high school, it was more 90210. But it would have, my memory would have been Jonathan, and then we would have moved into.
So we've got like music star, pop star. We've got television star. Was there a movie star? Seems no.
No, I don't think so. I mean.
What was your favorite movies?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm
my sound.
I'm the daughter of two.
So your favorite movies were like.
I would have told you my favorite movie was like Taming of the Shrew, and like I named my hamster Henry V and stuff. Like I was.
Well, like so Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo and Juliet. Like if you were like if you're so highbrow that you can only like a movie that is like Shakespearean.
For what when you told me this topic, those are the two people that immediately came to mind. I don't remember a lot. Like there's another person from the Mickey Mouse Club, the new version of the Mickey Mouse Club. He ended up like his name was Tony Luca. He ended up going into another show called like Malibu Shores or something that was awful and lasted a season, devastatingly for me.
Tony Luca.
I think part of what Ashley's saying though is that. This delusional teenager is like obsessed with this person. Like I have no time. Like I'm gonna marry this person. Like I don't have time to expand my horizons and think of other people.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
so you would really
and focused on my potential relationship with Luke. Yeah.
You committed until you were sure that wasn't going to work out, and then you moved on.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, let me ask you this then: was there a more obscure choice, like someone that like? So when you're first feeling those like, oh, that person's cute. Was there like just someone you saw in a thing, and you didn't even have to know the actor's name, but it's like that person like really titillated your teenage self.
I'm like, yeah.
This is an awkward topic to like have my sister guesting on.
Yeah.
But did that mean like I wouldn't remember their name? Like there was like a young kids soap. Like there was a version of a soap opera for, I know like even 90210 is a soap opera, right? But there was like a really like a dedicated soap opera with Sarah Michelle Gellar called Swan's Crossing or something terrible like that. And I was obsessed with it. And there was a guy like Sarah Michelle Gellar's like crush on that show. I was like in love with. I couldn't tell you who he was.
Not even the character's name or whatever, but you remember that.
All I remember is Swan's Crossing, teenage soap opera, Sarah Michelle Gellar,
great.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Movie star. I always had a thing for. I really loved Kevin Costner.
Oh,
Kevin Costner.
Right.
Probably far too old for me.
No, but
regard. But like Field of Dreams,
The Big Chill.
Bull Durham.
He was great in that. What?
I met Kevin Costner in real life.
Oh, you did? Like at the White House?
No, I was working on the Obama campaign, and they have what they're called surrogates who come out and like do events for that candidate to get people to go out and vote or whatever. And so Kevin Costner came out to do a tour of Colorado, and get people to vote for Barack Obama, who he was, whatever for. And I planned his trip and had to travel around with him around the state. And he had just produced an album with his band.
Spoken word?
No, his band. And he played it on repeat all day for 12 hours.
Right. What a weirdo.
Right.
And did your crush die?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. 100%. Like, I have never
He killed
looked
it.
at Kevin Costner. He truly, because we drove from Pueblo to Fort Collins to Estes Park to all over the place, which is all over the state for like 12 hours. And he played that album.
Kevin Costner, if you're listening, defend yourself in the comments below.
Okay.
I will say my mom drove me out to Kansas when I was going to school. She dropped me off at school, and she had one CD in the car, and it was Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson, A Star Is Born, and we played that one CD for 10 hours.
It's a good music. Good.
I mean,
good
just
song,
turn on
but
the radio at that point.
I know, but
you got to change it every
when you're in the middle of
Nothing.
in the middle of nothing, you don't get good radio reception and stuff.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Franny.
Bye.
Bye, Franny. Love you.
I love you.
Well, I think we could have gone on for another full hour probably naming just
And
crushes.
That silent moment makes me feel like we're done.
I mean, we hit a lot. Yeah.
It's a big topic.
I have a correction that I have to make from our.
Some Kind of Wonderful was not written by John Hughes.
No, it's not that. It's from our previous episode, which is about American Top 40, and we had my son Keaton. Now, after the episode, we did the game, right, where we named 3 artists. 2 were real, 1 was not. Now,
and Keaton was right.
Keaton came to me after, and he goes, "I made a mistake." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh.
He goes, "Well, I think the one that I said was not real. Lil Baby is a real artist." Can you believe that? I mean, but I wanted to bring that up.
It makes me feel better because, boy, y'all really gave it to me after I voted for Lil Baby.
Yeah.
So, we got to figure out next week. Matt, I think you are doing the honors, yes?
I'm doing the who's
Ashley's
I think it's me.
It's
I think
you.
it's
Okay.
me. So it'll be another one unprepared, absolute garbage intro compared to y'all.
I guess that's just your brand now.
Well, maybe I'll prepare. We'll
you
see.
let
We'll
yourself
see.
off the hook by making that your brand.
Yeah, a little bit.
Our topic next week is our middle name is Danger.
Oh.
It's the most dangerous thing that you did or the worst playing injury.
I will prepare for this. So, dangerous no helmet culture.
That's our topic for next
Nice.
time on Solve for Gen X. Special thanks to Franny Starkey for being on the show today.
Solve for Gen X is mixed and edited by Nate Starkey.
The theme song was written by Nate Starkey and Matt Vogel and performed by the Mighty Weeklings.
Our podcast art was created by Dave Hulteen at davehulteendesign.com.
You can find Solve for Gen X wherever you listen to podcasts.
And it's also available to watch on YouTube.
Just search Solve for Gen X.
If you're so inclined, please rate and review our show. It really helps our visibility.
Or whatever.
Whatever.
Solve for Gen X is a Welcome Matt and Married Nate and Ashley production.
If they can't